Takahiro Tomogotsu. What a player he could have been. On the 3 days of the season where he was able to perform actually at 100%, oh, he was unbelievable. He could underlap and connect with Saka in attack, and was able to pocket top Premier League players like Mo Salah. This one hurts extra because just 2 years ago, Tomogotsu played out of his mind when everyone thought it was over and earned a contract extension. But unfortunately, the injuries came back and he would end up resigning a year before expiry. Knowing he's just 26, it's brutal. Kinda reminds you of the other Arsenal stars of the past that suffered similar fates. All we can hope now is he could find a club in January and find his way back into the World Cup squad, because it just can't end like this for Tommy. Other notable departures included young winger Marquinhos, who just never was able to impress. He's now returning to Brazil after 4 underwhelming loan spells for 3 million. Fullback Nuno Tavares was another player that just didn't really fit the mold, but he was at least able to find his footing at Lazio on loan, creating 8 goals, and now he's signed on a permanent deal for 5 million. Although a lot of people will remember his slip that encapsulated that banter era in the early 2020s, Kieran Tierney should be remembered for a little bit more than just that. He couldn't reach the heights Arsenal expected of him, but he had the kind of heart and passion this club so desperately needed in such a dire time. He now returns to Celtic, and I can't wait to see him thrive at his boyhood club. Jorginho was a great option in the midfield as a closer, but like many 30-plus-year-olds, he's left on a free to Brazil, and more specifically, to Flamengo. And oh yeah, Thomas Partey is gone.
You know we got party hard. Party hard. You know we got party hard. Party hard, you know we got party hard.
Alright, let's talk about imports now. Arsenal got things started with a new keeper in Kepa Arrizabalaga. Yes, another Chelsea meme player, but we need a backup, and also he was just 5.8 million, so it's not that big of a deal. But then next thing you know, we were linked with another Chelsea player in 23-year-old Noni Madueke. And this fan base lost their shit. I saw more hate for this guy before he signed a piece of paper than Thomas fucking Partey the entire time he was at our club. I get it, 56 million is a lot of money, but the guy's 23. And also, I guess we completely forgot this whole concept of, oh, wait for this, Arsenal fans they might not be ready for this. Squad def, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna collapse just fucking saying that. I know I'm pretty reactionary and I can be a bit of a hypocrite when I call out other reactionary channels, but damn, at least give him some time! Anyways, Arsenal went on to make some other signings for the death. Center back Christian Mosquera from Valencia for 15 million, and defensive midfielder Christian Norgard from Brentford for 11.6 million. I honestly really love this particular pickup. Norgard is that kind of solid midfielder with excellent aerial that can give your team a unique edge in those crucial moments. And for 11.6 million, give me that shit. Speaking of defensive midfielders, we then purchased Martin Zubimendi for 70 million from Real Sociedad. He was heavily linked with this club for a long time. You would think it was just last year, but actually it was all the way since 2019 when we were linked with also other Sociedad players in Martin Odegaard and Alexander Isak. Unlike that with an awful first touch, no ability to clear a ball, no ability to connect with his teammates for more than 3 seconds, and the delusion that he's Steven Gerrard from way out, Zubimendi can provide the Gunners with composure in his decisive decision-making and ability to control the tempo. His football IQ in general is absolutely ridiculous, which could help make build-ups happen faster because of his ability to create space and chances from deep. But not only can certain aspects be improved by Zubimendi, I think he can also improve players around him, especially Declan Rice. Because with those two in a double pivot, it means Declan Rice has a lot less work to do, he doesn't have to cover as much space, meaning he can roam around a little more freely. Then on July 26th, 2025, a day that will be remembered in history as all Arsenal supporters' prayers were finally answered. After years of faulty finishing from a Brazilian who was so good at edging Gooners across the globe, a young Haaland boy who showed flashes but was inexperienced, which was only made worse when the club thought it was a fantastic idea to give him the pressure of the 14 shirt, and German Saul, Arsenal finally bought a proper number 9 in Victor Einar Gyökeres. 39 goals in the Portuguese league last season, 6 more in the Champions League. This was the most in-demand striker on the market, and we got him. And not only that, he wanted us, and only us. That could not sum up how much we have changed over the last 10 years. But guys, hold on for 1 second, because let's not fall into the trap that this is going to change our attack overnight. Please. Gyökeres excels when he's attacking space. All those different sprints that you've seen towards the goal, that's when he's at his most dangerous. The problem is, you're not going to see as much of that in the Premier League. That said, this still could mean that Arsenal could have way better efficiency with their transitions. Because last season, they were worse than only 2 other teams at converting from transitions, and this was despite winning the ball outside of their own defensive half more than the majority of the league. But again, we have to go back to that kryptonite. Arsenal are more than likely going to hold on to a majority of the ball in most of their matches, and they're going to face up against some pretty annoying low blocks. And the mere presence of a low block has managed to act like a wall that our attackers have been mindlessly passing around for the past 2 years now. I'm not saying Gyökeres will fix this problem entirely, but he does have that knack for goals, he does know how to position himself, and he does have that physicality. That's another big part of his game. Arsenal's preseason wasn't really anything great, but also, who the fuck actually cares about the preseason? Yes, I'm aware, I put a lot of emphasis on the preseason when it came to predicting Chelsea last year, but I've learned. Anyways, it all started in Ba Sing Se, where Arsenal beat Milan and Newcastle. Followed by that was the North London Derby in Hong Kong. I don't want to talk about it. Then we returned to the Emirates for a friendly versus Villarreal, which saw Nicola Pepe score. Finally, to wrap all this up, we won our annual Mickey Mouse Emirates Cup trophy. As this season preview is kinda late too, we might as well just dabble in the first few league matches that have happened so far. Our opener for 2025-26 was kicked off at the old dilapidated Trafford. Man United versus Arsenal, but more importantly, Gyökeres' Premier League debut against his former manager at Sporting.
10 years. No visits. Nothing. You abandoned me.
And thank God there wasn't any emphasis on that narrative, cause this shit was ass. Anyways, Kai Havertz got injured again. Well, there goes our one backup attacking midfield. Once a young little Gooner who was released at the age of 13, PogChamp 6 chess champion Eberechi Eze returns to the Emirates for a fat sum of 69.2 million. And what a signing this is. Another attacker that could be a real difference maker for the Gunners. 8 goals and 8 assists last season, and more importantly, already has that Premier League experience. That could not be more valuable. Eze is a baller, as is a requirement to play for Crystal Palace nowadays. He also plays on the left, which means we won't have to tilt the pitch all the way to the right side pretty much 90% of the time. Now we can actually distribute the ball all around the pitch. I know, it's crazy. I forgot that even existed. Quite honestly though, with how fast we hijacked this transfer from Spurs and then revealed him to a packed Emirates, this is the closest we've gotten to an Ozil deadline day moment. And how fitting for him to get that number 10 shirt. Eze though did not play in our home opener, but he did witness us destroy Leeds United 5-0, which on paper, amazing starts. But that doesn't really tell the full story here. For the first 30 minutes of this game, we still could not break down our kryptonite, the low block. And our attack looked awful because of it. Nonetheless, in came another set-piece goal to once again save the day, and from there, we ran riot now that Leeds were forced to attack. But that's where our problem lies. We can't get our attack running whatsoever unless we get that set-piece goal, or unless the opposition makes a mistake and we can capitalize on it. Because outside of that, there's no certainty that this team can break down a defense very well. I know it's still very early, and everyone's yet to play together at 100%, but that's still quite concerning knowing what absolute monstrosity awaits us. End of the day though, that's another win, and Gyökeres no longer has to stress about finding that first Premier League goal, so I can just relax.
You've got mail. You've got mail.
It's fine, okay. Let's just look at the schedule again.
Here's the Hungarian Soboslai!
I just want to know, why didn't we start Eze? He's right there. Perhaps Arteta didn't want to throw Ebbs right onto the front lines to begin his time at the club, but Eze did get to start in the very next game at home. Here, we would witness the Gunners tear down Forest like a small town in North Carolina, getting ready to copy-paste the same exact single-use housing project that's been used everywhere else. However, the next task would be much harder. A team that had our number for pretty much the last decade now. And they still have it. But even with some of our key players out, this was a battle-hardened Arsenal that was finally starting to grow some balls. Slowly, we were putting Man City on their toes, and once they were on the ropes, With 10 minutes remaining, Bob Le Sponge enthusiast Gabriel Martinelli comes off the bench, chips it over Satan's greatest soldier, and saves Arsenal points in the 3rd minute of stoppage time. I watch one episode of SpongeBob. What? I watch another episode of SpongeBob. What? But this gauntlet just keeps getting more annoying. Newcastle United. However, Saka was finally back and we were off to a much better start because of it. But see, that doesn't matter because Newcastle is a team of the most annoying mosquitoes known to man and we get outdone by our own black magic. However, no one dares use our magic against us and gets away with it. And after a late equalizer, we weren't done there just yet. These motherfuckers need to die! It's not even been like 5 games. Let's just calm down for a second. After the escape from Little St. James Park, Arsenal would proceed to go on a 4-game win streak that would see them concede not even once and go 6 points clear of the top by the beginning of November. In fact, throughout the season so far, Arsenal had only conceded just 3 goals in the first 10 games. At this rate, they would be on target to beat Chelsea's defensive record from 04-05. Arsenal hit a little divot on the road versus an overachieving Sunderland side, but can I just ask why the hell does this kind of fuck shit only happen to us? After the international break though, we had our first North London derby of the season, and all I'll say is, let it all work out, let it all work out, let it all work out. After rug-pulling Spurs like my last emotionally unavailable situationship, Eze returns to Tottenham's grave and pisses all over it. With that hat-trick, Eberechi Eze becomes the first Arsenal player to score a hat-trick since Thierry Nketiah in 2023, and he becomes the first gunner to bag 3 goals for Spurs since Adam Sunderland back in 1978. Beyond the history though, Gemma Chan from works like This Dumpster Fire, It Wasn't Your Fault, Queen, I Promise, and my all-time favorite Guilty Pleasures, Crazy Rich Asians, is a Gooner. And before anyone starts accusing her of just jumping on the bandwagon, she's been in the trenches with us. You can chill. Arteta's men then took a trip to Stamford Bridge, and while momentum was certainly on their side, the almost immortal center-back pairing of Saliba and Gabriel would be missing for this game. However, we must truly be in the hands of God, because we were given a massive break in the form of Chelsea shooting themselves in the foot. Even then though, the Gunners struggled heavily and ended up conceding just 3 minutes into the second half. However, Arsenal once again fight back with all they got, and Mikel Merino backed an equalizer just 10 minutes later. But with no Saliba and Gabriel, the Gunner shape was all out of whack and continued to waver against the pressure from the Blues. But then, fast forward to 1 minute left in stoppage time, Hincapié delivers brilliance to an Oba. In the end, this match ends 1 apiece, and like a rich college student going to Europe for a study abroad trip, Chelsea fans would go on to make this result their whole personalities for an entire month. Congrats on the trophy, I guess? To begin December, Arsenal quickly returned to winning ways thanks to yet another goal from Mikel Merino, who has just been on fire as of late. But with no Gabriel and Saliba still in sight, we suffer for it once more about 3 days later away in hell. Fortunately, in the second half, this is offset by an attack finally waking up from its slumber, and our very own Origi Leandro Trossard scores another clutch goal. Now with this newfound momentum, Arsenal tried to snatch a winner, however, they did the equivalent of fucking up the Super Strike. You know you could just say bottle, right? Yo, shut the fuck up! Having now missed their window, Arsenal began to show signs that winter was indeed coming by properly shitting the bed again. 77 minutes played, they let former academy player Donyo Malin nearly slip through. 4 minutes later, Arsenal nearly get turned into 2010 North Korea. But despite the mass amounts of danger right in front of our goal, the bandaged up defense kept cool and held you out. Someone fucking do something! With our second loss of the season and a couple other potholes in the road, Arsenal's gap at the top had shrunk to just 2 points now. And unfortunately for Gooners everywhere, that match versus Aston Villa was not the most horrifying thing they were about to see this season. Actually, let me correct that for a second. The most horrifying football they've ever seen. Oh, you thought the 31 shots conceded versus Watford in September 2019 was bad? Buddy, this was like 39 11s. On a cold day in mid-December, league leaders Arsenal would host last place Wolves, who were on just 2 points at the time. That's right, they had yet to win a single game up to this point. They were putrid dog shit. But you would have never thought that if you had watched this game without any of this context. The way Arsenal had his team set up would have driven the calmest fan to the most aggressive form of insanity you only see from the victims of the Stanford prison experiment. This was levels of terrorism that should have alerted every defense in each country. This would have been the only time I would have allowed another atomic bomb to be dropped. I take that back. I've always wanted to see this island sink to the bottom of the ocean. Arsenal deadass convinced me for like 70 whole minutes that it was nearly impossible to score versus this Wolves team. And even when we did score, it was pure luck. But hey, at least it's finally 1-0. It's not like one of the worst attacks was gonna break through the best defense. Plus, Saliba's oh my fucking god, man. Are we really about to draw versus 2 points Wolves? I feel like all my hope that I had for this title just died right now. It's so, oh yes! Yes, it was never in doubt, baby, let's go! Oh, quick sidetrack. We're close to 300,000 subscribers. Thought I'd mention that. Against Everton, the Arsenal hired an agent to sabotage the opposition early on, and we win another game. Versus Brighton a week later, the right-back position was in an actual crisis, with both Ricardo Calafiori and Ben White out, so it would be Declan Rice to play out of position. But despite the chaos, Arsenal would still emerge with a win. Then to close off 2025, Arsenal had the return fixture versus Aston Villa at home, an opportunity at revenge after what had happened not even a month prior. But before any ball was kicked, former Arsenal keeper Emi Martinez was up to his typical antics again. Yawn. Here's something that matters more. Gabriel was finally back from injury, and just 48 minutes into his return, he makes Emi Martinez his bitch. Chupa Gibo Martinez é bado filho da puta. Diz que você é pedaço de merda, volante é meu eufemismo. Cadê sua boneca agora, puta? Vai pra cima! To begin the new year, we quickly found out that Gabriel had emerged from his injury and transformed into Shohei Ohtani. He assisted the opposition 10 minutes in, and then 6 minutes later, he scored the equalizer. What can't this guy do? By the way, with that goal, Gabriel has scored more this season than Benjamin Šeško and Alexander Isak. Just a reminder, he's a center back. Arsenal, though, would go on to pull away from this match after Declan Rice bagged 2 goals of his own. 4 straight victories throughout late December and early January? This doesn't happen ever. Maybe this is the year. The Reds defeated us earlier into the season, but to be fair, outside the Szoboszlai free kick, neither team was really that good. In fact, we'd quickly see after that match that Liverpool were pretty trash actually. And lucky us, their defensive depth is so bad they still have to play Ibrahima Konate against us. This guy's been showing off a masterclass of how not to defend. This is brilliant for us. We're gonna score so many goals. I fell asleep about halfway through this game, and woke up seeing a 0-0 result, and then in my half-zombie state checked Twitter, wondering why Martinelli was getting more haters than Adolf Hitler. Oh, he definitely broke something.
Like a very awkward.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, what was that? He just raked him. Just like last week, man. He should be parked for that as well. That's ridiculous. Let's not jump ahead, all right? What? Wait. What do you mean, well, what? I don't know. I don't think he meant to do that. To do that? What do you mean? He just dumped him!
Draw's better than nothing, though. And lucky us, Man City dropped points the day before, and then lost to Manchester United the following week. So now we had an opportunity to extend our lead to 9 points, with our next game being versus 17th place Nottingham. Oh my god, this fucking team! 7-point gap is fine too, I guess. Can I just make one request, though? Can we find every single Gyökeres edit maker and beat them to death? Manchester United next. Compared to the others, this team is an actual joke. It's like the average Garden Grove Viet. You should just never take them seriously.
Oh, that's short. It's a gift for Mbemo. Round the keeper and in for one of the Patrick Dorgu. Oh!
I fucking hate this team so much. Now chasing the game, the Gunners started spamming crosses, and eventually the equalizer was dug into the net with less than 10 to play. And with momentum on our side again, this was an opportunity for us to snatch all 3 points away from United now. However, that can only happen when you're able to control a game, which Arsenal has not been able to do since December. And in the end, it's a 3-2 loss to Michael Carrick's Manchester United at home, which shrinks our lead at the top to just 4 points now. Oh, by the way, Marino got an injury after this game. Thankfully though, we put an end to this abysmal 3-game winless run with 2 pretty convincing victories. And thanks to Pep's consistent ineptitude versus Tottenham, our lead at the top was restored to 6. Away against Brentford, Netanyahu's extremely dull football scrapes a goal at the hour mark. However, this night saw him meet his maker. Just 10 minutes later, he experiences the Uno reverse as his opponents score an Arsenal goal against Arsenal. and we drop points again. Next was Wolves away. They're still last place. This is a game we should be winning, but of course, this is also that kind of game that Arsenal will cause us to have a mental breakdown. Don't you fucking do it. Our golden child Bukayo Saka would come up big only just 5 minutes into the game. Already a massive improvement from the infamous home game. But I'm not done there, because later Piero Hincapié would double our lead. Oh my god, I can't believe it. We actually acted upon our first goal and got another. Oh, thank god. We actually put a game to bed for once. Oh, thank god. Oh. What was that second half, Arsenal? What the fuck was that second half? After seeing Wolves get one back, we could have just focused on restoring the lead. I mean, it's Wolves, man. What? Why are we time-wasting versus last place? There were so many instances of it. From the moment the 70th minute hit, we had that one corner in the 87th minute where every tactic imaginable was used to time-waste. Against Wolves! Trossard went down with the mildest head injury, and we turned it into a fucking brain surgery with how long we fucking evaluated. Against Wolves! Have we no shame? And what the hell happened to our players? I've seen Bruneian under 23s string better passes than the fucking bullshit I was witnessing. I can't even remember what minute it was. But that one Jurgen Timber pass that just kind of sailed out of bounds. Terrible. Just fucking terrible. And those touches need to get the same investigations as the fucking Epstein files. And why? Why, Netanyahu, must we take zero risks? Everyone talks about Pep being the guy from the 2014 Nike commercial, but I disagree because this guy's philosophy literally follows that evil motherfucker's company's motto. There was that one counterattack where Trossard took the ball and ran it in between like 4 different defenders, and no one bothered to run faster than my fucking grandma. And finally, Gabriel and Raya. What the fuck was that? Are we a New York City situationship now? Fucking communicate! Deep breaths. Deep breaths. It's not the end of the world. 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 Next was Tottenham, who decided to replace the psyop they hired at the beginning of the season with the guy who somehow had Juventus playing worse than when they had Max Allegri a second time. Alright, just sing it with me again. Let it all work out! Let it all work out! Let it all...
To Haringey's Health and Adult Social Care line.
Brother, I'm seeing hella kids in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that shouldn't be there, blood. This is child abuse, fam. Nah, stop talking. You listen to me, blood.
After that much-needed morale booster, Arteta's men collected a second straight win after beating Chelsea through headers from Saliba and Jurrien Timber. The league win streak was then extended to 3 after Saka's extremely lucky goal versus Brighton. And with City dropping points again, our lead at the top was back to a solid 7 points. See? Not the end of the world. Alright, quick break now, because we need to briefly talk about progress in the other tournaments. Over in the EFL Cup, Arsenal were back in the semis for a second straight season. Last time they fell to Newcastle, however their chances of advancing were much higher with their opponents being a Chelsea team under a slight crisis after their manager quit. As expected, to be honest, Arsenal made pretty easy work of Chelsea after that. 3-2 win away from home, and then in the second leg, Kai Havertz returning from injury would once again haunt his former club and send them packing. Meanwhile, in the FA Cup, Arteta's men easily beat Mansfield Town to advance to the quarterfinals. And the Champions League, the Gunners were on fire, winning every single match in the group phase. This included an emphatic victory versus Bayern that sent shockwaves throughout the entire footballing world. This was Arsenal finally shedding the last remains of the banter era. Their transformation was finally complete. In the first leg of the last 16 though, our men in red struggled and were kinda bailed out by the refs. In the second leg however, Eze slaps one home with a sublime half volley, and then the game was put out of reach by Declan Rice's effort from beyond the arc. So in the end, Arsenal advanced 3-1 on aggregate and move on to the quarterfinals. Now, I'm not delusional enough to say quadruple here, but we are still in all these competitions. Also, all the while this was going on, back to the Prem, and this team just can't help but give every single fan a heart attack. Arsenal put on a defensive masterclass, but only just got past Everton. But hey, shouts to Max Dowman, who became the youngest goalscorer in Premier League history at 16 years and 73 days. And even better, Man City drew with West Ham, meaning the Arsenal are now 9 points clear at the top. But like all great things that happen in my sports-enjoying life, something must always be sacrificed. Anyways, next was the EFL Cup final versus Manchester City. This was the first cup final Arsenal found themselves in since 2020 when they won their only trophy with Arteta up to this point. But City had not been in great form, so even though we didn't have much experience, I kinda had a good feeling about this game. I'm gonna let Maqwell from another video talk about this one. So, just some quick context. I've been in Japan for the last 3 weeks on vacation, and whenever there's a football match I want to watch, it's usually at a pretty different time. 1:30 in the morning to be exact. The EFL Cup final between Manchester City and Arsenal was no exception either. But I had plans for this game. I actually wanted to go to an Arsenal bar and watch it because, you know, I'm in Japan. Like, why not, right? So I took a train around midnight to this bar, only to find out that they have reservations. I had no idea. Big L on my part, but they at least directed me to an alternative bar about 15 minutes walk away. Tough starts to the night, or I guess the morning in this case, but at least I was going to watch the game at a bar, nonetheless. I was fired up, the bar was fired up, chanting and singing. This all just kind of felt like the moment. I mean, we haven't won a trophy since 2020. This was finally gonna be our time.
Is quite telling. Shirky. Oh, and he didn't get a hold of it!
Lord above, please just kill me now. I'm cutting straight to the chase, okay? What the fuck was that performance from us? Because once those long balls were neutralized, we had no alternative plan. That was it. Was that really it? Did I really watch that for a whole 90 minutes and nothing changed? Nothing in a final? I'm serious, because the rest of the game, the attack was basically absent. I didn't see it. I don't think anyone saw it past the 20th minute. Bukayo Saka was abysmal, stopped in his tracks constantly. It was so frustrating to watch him. Anytime he even was on the ball, he held it for way too long. And then there was Trossard. I forgot he was even playing in this game. But then again, what the hell else are you supposed to do when nothing changes? Like, I guess Gyökeres at least showed some fight, but we don't need football respect moments. This isn't me journaling for therapy. We are trying to win a cup final here. But I don't know what more Arsenal can do when Mikel Netanyahu is setting up this team to perform heinous amounts of terrorism. And that's only about it. There's no intention to actually win this game. This dictator had our team set up in a low block from the very beginning of this match. We were fucked from the very beginning of this match. And this made zero sense to me. We're playing Manchester City. This team always plays open and attacking. Their defense for the last 2 seasons has been their weakest spot. This is like if you spot a 10 at the club and notice no one's talking to her. You don't just stand there, you go fucking make a move. But no, instead, we opt for having a maximum of like 2 people beyond our half when we have the ball. Even then though, fuck those guys, because anytime we even had the ball, we didn't even fucking move forward with it. This team was 2-0 down. 10 minutes left in this game and was moving slower than Wi-Fi ordered off of Temu. We created maybe like, I don't know, like 1 actual chance in the last 15 minutes of the game when we needed 2 goals. Where the hell was the urgency, man? Also, Netanyahu's low block basically fucked us defensively as well. Once our attack was basically neutralized, disintegrated from time itself, City was pretty much just suffocating us at numerous times. And we had, like, no answer for any of the City players actually making things happen. Actually, I take it back, we did have an answer. A big, warm welcome. Bienvenido. Enjoy your stay in Arsenal's fucking box. I'm sorry, but when I saw Cherokee showboating on our asses, I wasn't even mad. We deserved that shit. We were pathetic. Also, why the hell did we start Kepa? Like, David Raya hasn't been amazing, don't get me wrong, but Keppa? In the final? So yeah, my morning was ruined by 3 a.m., but here's something I should probably mention about Japan. You see, the trains end around midnight, and they don't come back until 5 in the morning. The bar I was at, by the way, was located in Kabukicho. And for those who don't know what Kabukicho is, consider yourself blessed. But I'll give you the rundown anyway. It's like being in a video game where if you are within, like, I don't know, 10 meters of the nearest NPC, they will approach you. In this case, though, they're not approaching you for any random talks or anything. They're approaching you for sexual favors, whether you like it or not. And I was stranded there for 2 hours. But you know, I would try and make the most of it. Not like that, you sick fuck. I mean, the batting cage, though, was maybe like a block away. You know, just a good way to let out my frustrations after such a horrid loss like that. It still moves. But not even halfway in my journey to that batting cage, some motherfucker approaches me and simply just asks, "Titties?" Brother, my team just embarrassed me. My friends and fans are cooking me at any given moment in time. The fuck makes you think I want titties? I want to throw myself in front of the fucking Chuo. I couldn't even walk to a Family Mart without being told some hot Japanese woman was ready for me. Brother, I'm ready to be the notification in the morning about a human accident on the Chuo line. A day after the final, it was announced that Saka had picked up an injury and would be out for about a month. And why don't you look at that? It's the month of April. After the international break was an FA Cup semi-final, and the Gunners were stunned early on by championship side Southampton. Thanks for nothing, Ben White. Nonetheless, our men in red stayed calm and claimed an equalizer in the 67th minute. However, Calafiori was still getting flashbacks of Bosnia. The rest of the defense basically capitulated with 5 minutes left, and just like that, half the quadruple had been bottled in less than a month. It's fine, okay? That just means less tournaments to deal with. We got a 9-point lead in the league, okay? We can just focus on that.
Looped up off Saliba and Krupi turned it in.
Well, thanks again, Ben White. For nothing. Arsenal, though, were at least able to bail themselves out with the penalty, but that didn't take away from the fact that the attack was miserable. Martin Zubimendi was also having tiny lapses of Alzheimer's, which made him forget he was a footballer, and we're bottling the league now. Just in time! Okay, but again, it's not the end of the world, okay? We still got a 6-point gap, albeit a game in hand, and we literally just played Man City, okay? We've learned from our mistakes. We're gonna show Pep Guardiola who's boss. Oh, why do I even try anymore with this fucking team? Well, you know, on the bright side, we advanced past Sporting 1-0 on aggregate and are now in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Oh, by the way, a day later, my Denver Nuggets lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the NBA playoffs. They then went on to lose the series despite being a 3rd seed, albeit a really fraudulent 3rd seed. And fun fact, by the way, this exact outcome has now happened twice within the last 4 Arsenal title challenges. Yeah, I'm done with sports, bro. This shit ain't for me.
Người xứng đáng cho chúng ta trao lá phiếu bầu. Donald Trump. USA, USA, make America great, great again. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump cho nhiệm kỳ này.
Good evening, everyone. Besides immigrants, Zoran Mamdani, and that terrorist lover Alfie from HITC7s, I'm your host, Maqwell, here to give you the hard-hitting journalism that the mainstream media is hiding from you. Today, we will be talking about the recent New York City Wasian meetup event that has angered many across Donald John Trump's America. But why, Maqwell? Why are people mad about a simple congregation of mixed white people? Well, you see, America, our youth is lost. Universities across this country are brainwashing our children right now into being trans, socialist, but worst of all, they are being taught by illegal immigrant teachers that white equals bad. It's disgusting, America. It's putrid what the left is doing. They're constantly shaping narratives by ignoring most of the context. It's why I left the left. Because how can you preach inclusion when you are literally discriminating? It's that typical leftist hypocrisy. All lives matter. All life on this planet matters, including white. White lives matter. Now, folks, before I go on to our next topic about a random crime in the Bronx where the criminal so happens to be black and how this says everything you need to know about black people, I need to tell you about these life-changing supplements. All my life, folks, I found it very hard to get it up around my wife. In fact, it seems to be the opposite. I get it up pretty easily when I'm around men. So, Arsenal bottled it. Again. But Maxwell, Man City just needs to drop points in one fixture, and then we'll be back at the top of the table. Yeah, but we have to win out the rest of our games. Be real here. This is a title we've already bottled. We've collapsed under pressure again. It's over.
まだ希望を捨てるな、マクスウェル。
Takahiro Tomogotsu. I thought you was dead.
まだ残り5試合あるし、マンシティとは勝ち点で並んでいるんだ。もう勝負はついたなんて思うやつは愚か者だよ。
Tomogotsu, I get that, but you've seen this story too.
Mon ami, but that was the past.
Arsene Wenger?
I apologize for giving you childhood trauma with results like 10-2. And I know Arteta also feels very sad about his shortcomings. But that was, you have to realize, that was the past. That does not define the present. You have to trust more, Maxwell. Otherwise, you will always be stuck in the past.
Yes, I agree. What Arsene Wenger said. Man, who the fuck are you? But you're right, Arsene. I need to trust more. I need to live in the present without fear of what was in the past.
Okay. Bye. Later.
It's not over yet. It's time to goon to the title. Arsenal vs Newcastle, 5 games remaining. Eberechi Eze whacks it in the back of the net, and that's enough for the 3 points. Meanwhile, in the Champions League, Arsenal leave with a draw in the first leg of the Haram Ball. Back to the Premier League. Saka is back, baby. And our 800-year-old star boy might be better than he has been all season, as he just full-on cooks Fulham's backline with a hint of that special sauce. He wasn't discriminating either. In the Haram Ball return leg at home, who else but that man who kicked it all off to begin with, bagging the goal to send us to the Champions League final for the first time since 2006. And what's this? Man City having to settle for a draw versus Everton? I could have sworn everyone was saying we were the bottlers. Shove that in your fat fucking mouth, you cunt. Enough paying attention to them though. We are on the road to gooning to the title. West Ham away. This was a bit complicated because if they beat us, Tottenham have a better chance of going to... Do you really think I care? Do you really think I'm about to give a shit about sacrificing my own team's legacy, my own team's chances of winning a title to see this small little club relegate? Get the fuck out of here. The Gunners in that pristine white classic went full guns blazing, and a good amount of that had to do with Miles Lewis-Skelly making appearances in the midfield with Ben White holding down the foe. Of course, it's the moment I praise this guy. I just... With Arteta forced to change the setup, Arsenal's attacking momentum died quicker than Tottenham's title chances. The defense was quite choppy too, which allowed West... No. Oh, thank God. As the minutes passed by, Arsenal's attack still remained unchanged, still looked less threatening than a puppy, and I was starting to lose hope. Until... Hurtigard. So soon! Yes! When we needed him most, Mr. Clutch, I pity the fool Mr. T, comes to the rescue, and that might be the biggest goal in our club's history. But it's not over yet. West Ham are still fighting to survive, and in the dying minutes, no.
And Chris Kavanagh says that is a goal. It did cross the line. West Ham have equalised.
Not like this, man. I can't keep living like this. Why must this be so hard? Oh, there's a foul in West Ham? Excuse me, do you have a water bottle? Bottle of water? Bottle... Arsenal. Oh, Arsenal. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, okay, I am aware that there are a lot of complaints about this goal, okay? Of Arsenal this, okay? Gabriel was holding on to his man. Of Arsenal that Declan Rice was holding on to this man's piss, okay? Like, I get it. It was a foul on Raya. Cry about it.
Right, brother? You good? Why are you crying? Oh.
So after a ridiculous battle at London Stadium, Arsenal escape and remain at the top of the table. But the job is not done yet. Man City defeated both Brentford and Crystal Palace, so they are still within reach of snagging the title away. Again. So it was on to our second to last game, Burnley at home. Burnley had the opportunity to do the funniest thing, and man, shut the fuck up. With that out of the way, the pressure was now back on Man City, with their next game being away versus a Bournemouth side hungry to qualify for Europe now that they knew their manager was leaving. 39 minutes played, Bournemouth with the best chance of the game so far. They could set North London alight by their own means right here.
Good chance.
City were nowhere near their best all game long and could only settle for a late consolation. So, with the final whistle, the agonizing 22-year-long wait is finally over.
Oh shit. Whoops.
The Gunners are in heaven. Arsenal are champions. The Gunners are in heaven.
But wait! We still have the Champions League final.
Left back is Hincapié, preferred to Calafiore.
Oh my god. Kai, please, Saka in the middle, Saka in the middle.
For Arsenal.
Oh shit!
What a start!
Oh my god!
Dembele.
No.
Fuck! Huge moment in the final. Dembele sings right the wrong way. Oh, it's way over. It's Paris Saint-Germain on repeat.
Fuck. Listen, I'm gonna keep this short because it's 6 days until the World Cup, 5 days when this video is gonna be uploaded, and I've only made one World Cup video, and I've barely even been able to read about the World Cup. So, yeah, we're just gonna keep this short. I watched Arsenal's Premier League trophy celebration in bed, struggling to really wrap my head around what I was watching. It just didn't feel real to me. It was more like I was watching an Arsenal career mode by someone like MGH. Or me. Almost 7 years ago, when I was severely depressed during college, I decided to have one last go at my childhood dream with a FIFA 20 Arsenal career mode series. I worked until 2 a.m. pretty much every single day. I was malnourished, tired, but I didn't give a shit because this series was the only thing keeping me from putting an end to my life. I was brought back to that memory when the career mode analogy initially crossed my mind, and in that moment, I realized what this title actually meant to me. When people ask me advice on starting a YouTube channel, I don't really give them any tips on growth, algorithm, titles, thumbnails, all that kind of stuff. I usually say, just have fun with it. Throw shit on the wall, you know? If there's an idea that you think is stupid, just do it. Why not? Never take that period for granted, because the moment this turns into anything like an actual full-time serious job, things change very drastically. I feel like ever since I dropped out to do this full time and then later hit 100K, I haven't given myself credit for anything really. Every week for honestly the past few years has just been this. Post a video. If it doesn't do well, that sucks. Let's move on to the next video. If it does well, that's great. On to the next video. And it's not to say that I don't find any joy in what I do. I had a blast putting this entire video together. But I think in general, with how life goes by so quickly, we're naturally harder on ourselves because we're so focused on what the next thing is, and we just completely forget about the present, where we are right now. See what I did there with the Venga skit? I ended up actually talking to my therapist about this a few days ago because I feel like it's kind of gotten out of hand at this point. And she asked me the question, what would the younger you think if they saw you now? This is a photo of me in my 2020-21 Takahiro Tomiyasu shirt. I was celebrating my 21st birthday and also reaching the goal of 10,000 subscribers. I remember how ecstatic I was to hit this number because in between the celebration of this and 5K was one of the toughest periods in my life. I didn't love making career mode videos anymore, so I took a big risk, a big leap, and transitioned into a type of content that I really didn't believe I could do. I started enjoying making videos again, but with that change, the views naturally went down, and I felt my last gasp attempt at making a dream come true slowly die. There were days when it just got so overwhelming that I just tear up, and the only thing that would help me cope would be city pop and anime openings. And I could only imagine how that version of me would react if they saw where I am now. In one of my favorite songs of all time, Lovesick Part 3 by Nujabes featuring Shingo 2, there's a verse that goes, "It's funny how the music put times in perspective. Add a soundtrack to your life and perfect it. Whenever you are feeling blue, keep walking, and we can get far, wherever you are." For me, that soundtrack consists of Beautiful World and One Last Kiss by Hikaru Utada. If you haven't listened to either, they're beautiful songs. I listened to these songs for the first time when I felt like my purpose in life was collapsing right in front of me in summer 2021. Then I listened to them when I finally hit 10K, and then again when I hit 100K. During my first ever visit to New York City in 2022, I played those tunes on Zealand's balcony. And when I went to Japan for the first time in 2023, I teared up listening to the songs while looking down at Tokyo cityscape. Because it was only 2 years ago when I really had this dream of going to Japan, but I didn't feel like I'd ever be able to make it happen. Those two songs helped me remind myself of how far I've come, and I haven't actually listened to them once since moving to New York City, so yeah, maybe I should do that. But this is what Arsenal's triumph means to me. It's not just the trophy we finally lifted, it's the long roller coaster journey of achievement, disappointment, and a lot of suffering that led to our ultimate goal. To the version of me who watched old clips of Henry back in 2015 hoping we'd be champions again one day, I know you're somewhere within me right now, and I hope you're enjoying this just as much. I did not keep this shit short, god damn it. I'll leave it all at that though. This is the first season review where I am not depressed. It's a goddamn miracle. But of course, a massive shout out to all our members, including Janos Balash and my before Janos Balash, German Sayu 7, Jeremiah Owusu Ajimang, Django, Anazir Makalankam, Alex Rod, Kentra Gatra, Saint Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Cheesebay, Winder Gel, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, The Portergeyser, Wise Orange, Polar Protos, Fun Fan, Augustly Aokuni, Wolves, Lick Stabma, Tanai, Apollo, Thrilling ADT13, Los Milos, La James Braun, Vacinho, Napside, Money Cash Hose, Quantavious Pork, Lilia Lover, Stewed Monk, Red Yellow, Fuchs, KFC, MXN, Harry Maguire's left toenail, Flaquito, Thierry Stotts, Julian Alvarez Glazer 7, Barca Blanco, Mark GB, Archangel 64, Chuck is Dead Vayak, Kev C, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Kretz, Mohammed Al Tanib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to be a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my Twitch. We'll be doing some World Cup watch-alongs for sure. But until then, I'll see you guys. Arsenal. Oh, Arsenal.